Imagine this. You're married into one of the oldest and richest families in America. You're living in a $2 million coastal home. You have access to generational wealth, luxury, and a last name that makes people stand up straighter. And you throw it all away over a warm embrace at a Coldplay concert. Not an affair, not a full-blown romance, just a public hug, caught on camera. That spiraled into a full-on media scandal. Welcome back to FameDetective, where we investigate the scandals that turn private drama into public downfall. Today's case: a Coldplay concert, an HR exec, a CEO, and a $15 billion legacy now hanging by a thread. Let's unravel the mess behind the music. It all started with a seemingly innocent moment, one caught not in a hotel lobby or shadowy corner, but under stadium lights in front of 50,000 people. The band was Coldplay. The song, Yellow, a song about longing, about love, about someone being your world. The camera pans across the sea of glowing fans. People swaying, tears in their eyes, arms around their loved ones. Then, the lens lands on a man and a woman, so visibly wrapped up in each other, it made strangers stop and say, "Whoa, what's their story?" And that's where the story really begins. Because the man in the video, he's not just a fan, he's Andy Bryon, CEO of Astronomer, a New York-based software development company specializing in data engineering, cloud services, and enterprise analytics. And the woman next to him, clinging close with what looked like pure affection. She's not his wife, she's Kristen Cabot, his company's head of human resources. And more importantly, she's married to Kristen Cabot, heir to a $15 billion Boston dynasty. That hug, that tender moment. It wasn't just a workplace scandal, it was a social earthquake. Reddit got the clip first, then TikTok picked it up. Then Twitter, now X, exploded with captions like, "CEO caught in 4K hugging his HR director. And she's married to a billionaire?" You don't fumble Coldplay vibes unless you're feeling it. This ain't just HR. Within hours, names were dropped. LinkedIn profiles were screen-recorded, the internet played detective and cracked the entire case wide open. This wasn't just two co-workers, this was a CEO and his HR exec, both married. Both senior leaders, both caught in what appeared to be an intimate, possibly romantic embrace. The fallout, immediate and brutal. But to understand why this became such a scandal, we need to rewind and take a closer look at the woman in the video. Who is she? Who is the woman with the CEO? Everyone's asking. She is the HR of the company Astronomer, and her name is Kristen Cabot. On paper, Kristen Cabot was the ultimate modern success story. Educated, articulate, professional, a polished executive who climbed the corporate ladder, landing prestigious roles across advisory boards and HR departments. She carried herself like a woman who knew exactly how to move in elite spaces, and more importantly, how to stay there. But behind the resume is a story that feels more like Succession than LinkedIn. Kristen wasn't born into the Cabot family, she married into it. In 2020. While still married to another man, she joined the advisory board of Privateer Rum, a boutique alcohol brand. Sounds innocent enough. Except Privateer is controlled by the Cabots, one of Boston's most powerful and historically significant families. Kristen's entrance onto the Privateer board brought her into the orbit of Kristen Cabot, one of the heirs to the family's fortune. By 2022, Kristen had divorced her first husband. By 2023, she had married into one of the wealthiest families in the Northeast, and when we say wealthy, we're not talking Silicon Valley new money. The Cabots are old Boston descendants of shipping magnates, industrialists, and rum traders whose fortune traces back over 10 generations. They're part of a group known as the Boston Brahmins, Protestant elites, whose family names define the social order of New England. The kind of people who don't chase clout because they own the institutions that create it. Their motto: discretion, tradition, legacy. Their family fortune, once estimated at $200 million in the 1970s, now projected to be over $15.4 billion today. Kristen had, as many would say, secured the bag. A $2.2 million coastal home in New Hampshire, a last name tied to everything from Harvard to old money trusts, the chance to live out the rest of her life as a philanthropist, a socialite, a society woman. But for some reason, that wasn't enough. Soon after marrying Kristen Cabot, Kristen took a new job as head of human resources at Astronomer, a rising tech firm based in New York, and within months, she was back in the headlines. But this time, not for her resume, for her reputation. Let's shift focus to the man beside her at Coldplay, Andy Bryon. Andy was a quiet leader in the booming world of data software. As CEO of Astronomer, he oversaw complex software solutions, helping enterprises manage and move data efficiently. Think digital pipelines, cloud orchestration, and open-source tech. Astronomer is no small player. The company raised millions in venture capital, partnered with enterprise clients, and gained attention for integrating tools like Apache Airflow, a powerful data workflow system. Headquartered in New York, Astronomer was gaining serious momentum in the tech world, and Andy was the face of its growth, publicly. Andy Bryon was all about structure, compliance, and corporate integrity. Privately, well, the Coldplay clip told a very different story. And the twist: his co-star in that scandal, Kristen, wasn't just any staffer. She was head of HR. That's the person responsible for enforcing ethics, monitoring company culture, and investigating others for boundary violations. So when the world saw the CEO and HR director locked in what looked like romantic embrace on company time, with company eyes watching, the reaction was swift and damning. Within days, Andy Bryon resigned from Astronomer. No statement, no apology, no damage control interview. He just walked. Kristen was placed on administrative leave, a quiet corporate term that almost always precedes a private firing, especially in cases involving senior misconduct. Astronomer's board knew this wasn't just a PR problem. It was a legal liability, a cultural contradiction, and a risk to the company's valuation. But for Kristen, it wasn't just about the job. It was about everything that job had cost her. Because while Andy could fade away and re-emerge in another startup, she was about to face something much colder: the wrath of the Cabots. To understand how monumental this fall from grace truly is, we need to talk about the Cabot family and why you don't just cheat on a Cabot, especially in public. The Cabots are more than just rich. They're a living monument to old money. The kind of family whose name appears in Harvard archives, historic shipping logs, and exclusive club registries that still won't let just anyone in. They're part of what New England calls the Boston Brahmin elite, a social class so entrenched in prestige. They're often described as blue bloods, Protestant, Anglo-Saxon, and profoundly traditional. In fact, there's an old poem that locals in Massachusetts still quote: "This is good old Boston, the home of the bean and the cod, where the Lowells speak only to Cabots, and the Cabots speak only to God." Let that sink in. This isn't just about wealth, it's about centuries of power, inherited influence, and a deeply embedded culture of secrecy, restraint, and absolute reputation control. Now let's get specific. Kristen's husband, Kristen Cabot, is a sixth-generation heir. His family legacy includes fortune built from the 19th century rum and shipping industries. But that's just the surface. Their wealth is tied to carbon black, a material crucial for tire production, giving the family decades of industrial dominance. Over time, their portfolio expanded into private liquor brands, property holdings, and financial trusts. The family estate is valued at $15.4 billion today, and that's just what's public. And when Kristen married Christian in 2023, after having worked on the privateer rum advisory board since 2020, she effectively stepped into one of the most tightly protected legacies in the Northeast. But there's a catch: old money doesn't work like new money. You don't marry in and immediately get keys to the vault, prenups, ironclad, trusts, locked down, even spousal support, limited, especially when there's public disgrace. Kristen had been married to Kristen Cabot for just about a year before the scandal exploded. That's not enough time to claim serious financial stake in the estate. And when you embarrass a family like the Cabots, they don't fight, they erase you. Sources close to the family told the New York Post that Kristen's place in the family is now completely unsalvageable. In fact, rumors suggest it was Kristen Cabot himself who leaked the story to the media. Because who else would know so many intimate details: the date of her previous divorce, her exact entry into the rum business, the historical quotes, the legacy numbers. The Post didn't just expose the scandal, it weaponized her downfall. And for what? A Coldplay concert. A man who doesn't even work there anymore. A moment that lasted 3 minutes and cost her 3 lifetimes worth of legacy. As the clip went viral, Kristen Cabot didn't fight back. She vanished. Her LinkedIn, deleted. Her company bio, gone. Photos from board meetings, scrubbed. Even mentions on privateer rum site were erased. It was a clear digital wipe, the kind PR teams initiate in full-blown crisis mode. But it didn't work. TikTok had already screen-recorded everything. Reddit users dug up old wedding photos, matching them against the Coldplay clip. Even Kristen's profile photo became a meme. She used her year 2000 headshot. One viewer joked. Speculation swirled. Was this a case of rebellion? Of midlife chaos? Or had she simply overplayed her hand, trading billion-dollar legacy for office romance? Whatever the reason, Kristen was no longer just a woman who made a mistake. She was a public cautionary tale, being dissected by millions. And now, everyone involved is paying the price. Andy Bryon is out as CEO of Astronomer. His future, unknown. His reputation, damaged. No statement, no apology, just silence. Kristen is reportedly on her way out too, if not already gone. Her marriage to Kristen Cabot is believed to be over and her place in the Boston elite erased. She went from being married into one of America's richest families to trending on TikTok for hugging the CEO at a concert. All over one moment, one hug, 3 minutes of Coldplay. That cost her a lifetime of power, protection, and prestige. So what do you think? Was Kristen in love, or just reckless? Was Andy Bryon using his power, or caught in the same trap? And was the Cabot family justified in unleashing the press to destroy her reputation? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because we're bringing you the scandals they wish would stay buried. Until next time, this is FameDetective, signing off. Stay sharp, stay curious, and always follow the fame.